this hill sucks. What's the difference between freeze drying and dehydration? This is a question we get asked pretty much every trade show we go to. Okay, so big difference between freeze drying and dehydration. Freeze drying will hold its state as is. So when you put it in the freeze dryer and you take it out of the freeze dryer, when it gets wet again, it is the same state it was in prior to going into that freeze dryer. With dehydration, you are taking heat and air and you are pretty much baking at a low temperature the product. So when it goes in raw, you're low baking it and it gets dehydrated. Why would a company choose to do freeze drying over dehydration or vice versa? Well, it all boils down to your end goal. What is it that you're trying to achieve? What kind of product are you trying to look for? What is it that the market really wants? And then obviously your profits. So freeze drying requires you to have like an HPP, a high pressure processing system, or some other kind of system that will help get its product to a kill step. A freeze dryer in itself cannot create a kill step for you. Dehydration on the other end, what you do is you process your product, whether you're cutting it up, getting it ready, you put it on your trays, you put those trays into the dehydrator, and then the dehydrator is set up with your PLC controls where you can put different set points, and one of those set points is in fact a kill step. And then the big question is do we freeze dry or do we dehydrate? Because both of those products, no matter what they are, if it's freeze dried or dehydrated, both of them become shelf stable products. You're required to actually freeze your product before going into the freeze dryer. So it's sounds a little bit redundant, but freeze drying, what it does is it brings your temperatures of the product really, really, really low, greater than what a freezer would. So an initial cost investment on freeze drying product, there's a significant upfront cost with different equipment and different processing that needs to take place. It isn't just freeze drying and then you're done. So that if you've got about 3,000 pounds of product that you want to put into a freeze dryer, you need at least 3,000, if not 6,000 pounds of product sitting in a freezer prior to going into the freeze dryer. What does that mean? That means you've got a lot of product on the floor that is taking probably a week to push through. So the dwell cycle, the time it takes to freeze dry it, plus the time it takes to freeze it first, that just takes up floor space, and that takes up capital expense. So in the end, you have to ask yourself, what product are you developing? Are you developing a freeze-dried product or are you developing a dehydrated product? Can your freeze-dried product actually become a dehydrated product instead and still give you the same value? And can you push more product through faster in your facility? Because in the end, if you can push more product through faster, that just means you're pushing more product and you're gaining more money. So anyways, we're heading to Super Zoo, myself and Adam, and we hope to see you there. And, shoot me a DM, like, follow, whatever, subscribe. Yeah, I hope this all helps. I'm almost to the top of the hill. Yeah. Anyways, have a great day, guys.